Are you planning to migrate to Dubai or any part of the UAE and you are at the stage of looking for accommodation, but then you're confused about the accommodation options available in the UAE here? If that is you, guess what? You are at the right place. In today's video, I will be sharing with you the different types of accommodation available in the UAE. Most often, when I tell people about the different types of accommodation available in UAE, they get confused. Don't worry, I was also confused at one point that I was like, no, 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 let me just come and see for myself what this means because they're trying to explain to me and I wasn't getting it. So today I am going to tell you the different types of accommodations available and explain to the best of my knowledge so that you understand how it works and decide if it's something that you would go for or not. This is mainly for people who are coming on a budget and don't want to spend too much on accommodation. So, if you're ready, let's get right into the video. Hello, lovely people. My name is Shuvon. I'm a Ghanaian living in the United Arab Emirates. On this channel, I share with you my experience as an African living in an Arab state, and I also share with you tips for people who want to migrate to UAE or simply how to live your life here as an African. So if this is something you are interested in, please make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon so that anytime I post a new video, guess what? You'll be notified. Let's go straight to today's video. So in today's video, as I've already mentioned, I will be talking to you about the different types of accommodations available here on a budget. So if you're an immigrant, you're thinking of coming to you where you don't want to spend much, I got you. So the first one I want to talk about is something that we call bed space. What is a bed space? So a bed space is typically like a hostel setting. If you're from Africa, it would be just like your high school dormitory where you have bunk beds and you share a common room with a bunch of people. What is the style of a bed space? So a bed space can have two bunk beds or three bunk beds, depending on the style of the landlord or landlady. So with a bed space, you usually would have an open space where everybody can see whatever is going on. You share a common kitchen or common bathroom, and you just like see there's no privacy in a bed space, I must say. However, some people would divide their beds, like cover their beds, give them a little bit of privacy with some curtains. I hate that. I hate it. Like I remember when I came first, I tried to look for bed space. So I would go see some. I have a phobia for that because it makes the room looks very clumsy and just I cannot. But that is how some people try to find a little bit of privacy in a bed space by covering their. I think we have that in the high school also. You would have people just put curtains around inside of their bunk beds just to give them a little bit of privacy. You can have that in a bed space, but ultimately you would share the room with a bunch of people just openly. How many people are in a bed space? This is solely dependent on the owner of that bed space to decide how many people they want to put in a room for bed space. But it usually ranges from 4 to whatever number, depending on how big the room is. So some people can have 4, some people can have 6, 8, even up to 16 in a big room. How much does it cost for a bed space? The cost varies depending on one, the size of the room of the bed space. So the bigger the room, the more expensive it's going to be because then it will mean they're giving you a lot of space. So you have to pay a higher amount. And then also, depending on the number of people in the room, the higher the number of people, the cheaper the price will be. But then also, I mean, you will not get that much privacy. So it all depends on you, what your preferences are. And then also one thing that would affect the price of the bed space is what amenities they offer you. Some people would give you, say, free Wi-Fi, free gas, free, what is it, laundry and all these other services. So if you have all these services attached to the bed space, the pricing, then it will be a little higher than your regular bed space where you only pay for the bed. Also, the part of the bed space that you want can also determine the price. For example, if you have a three-bunk bed style and you want the lower bed or the down bed, it's going to be more expensive compared to the upper bed. So if you want the upper bed, it's going to be cheaper, the middle bed cheaper, and then so cheap, cheaper. No, the other way around. Cheap, cheaper, cheapest. Most bed space comes with a standard wardrobe. It varies in sizes, and unlike the bunk beds, you can have bed spaces with single beds. But of course, the price is going to be way higher than your regular bunk beds. Bed space, depending on the area it's located and all these other factors that I mentioned, will range from between 400 dirhams, I think, up until say 700 or even 800, depending on whatever facilities that you have available and especially the area in which the bed space is located. That is a bed space for you. The second type of accommodation in the UAE is what we call a partition. What is a partition? And a partition for, not that one. Well, literally something similar. So a partition is similar to a bed space. However, with a partition, you have your individual privacy. What is a style of a partition? So I will give you an example. A partition will be, say, if I have a two-bedroom apartment and I want to do a partition, I may decide to divide the one bedroom into say two or three parts, right? So some of the structures are permanent, some are temporal. So they use whatever cardboard or no, not cardboard, plywood or whatever it is to divide the one bedroom into whatever number. Let's say two. So they divide one bedroom into two equal parts and make it into a whole room on its own with a door and a lock. So that is a partition for you. So you can have, say, if I have two bedrooms and I divide each bedroom into two, then I'll have four tenants living in my two-bedroom apartment. Some even go ahead and divide the living area into bedrooms also. So you can have, if it's a two-bedroom apartment with a living area, and you convert the living area into a partition, you can have, say, six people living in the apartment. Six people living in an apartment, but each individual has their own space, private space. So I go out, I lock my door, but just that it's very small space. It's literally like the bed space. Sometimes you have um a double. I don't think there's any partition that has a double bed, but you can have a double bed in a partition or a single bed in a partition. It depends on the size of the partition, but that's literally how a partition works. It's similar to bed space, but here you have your individual privacy. You can lock your door actually and go out and come back. However, you would share all the other amenities with the other people living in the apartment. That is the kitchen, the washroom. If you have a balcony, you probably share with other people. If you have a rooftop, you share with all the other people in the apartment. Sometimes you don't even know how many people are in the apartment because all you care about is that's your space. You go inside. That is like your little bubble in that big apartment. You go inside, you have your peace, you have your privacy, or you can go to the kitchen and cook, and you can put anything you want in your little partition, your fridge, whatever, in that partition. So it will be like your own one bedroom apartment, just that you don't have luxury of space. So that is a partition for you. How many people do you have in a partition? So this will also solely depend on the owner of the space, But usually, I would say if you have like a one bedroom apartment, you probably have about 4 to 5 people living in that apartment, because people would, depending on the size of the one bedroom, they'll usually divide it into two. And then the living room, they'll also divide into two or three, depending on the size. Then you can share the other facilities. So the bigger the apartment, then the more people you would have in the apartment. However, you would have your own individual privacy in the form of having a locked, you know, place. You have your partition, they divide it and then they give you a door and a lock. Then you can lock it and have your privacy. How much does it cost? The cost also will depend on several factors for partition, which includes the size of the partition, or if you have the area also, I must include that the area, the neighborhood where it's located, and if you have any special facilities attached. Let's say you're part of the partition, you have a balcony, or you have an extra space or something. It might influence the price for you. But usually, a partition I think will range from 800 dirhams up until 1,005, 1,006, even 2,000 for that little space. But yeah, it depends on the area and other factors. These two types of accommodations are the most common accommodation in UAE, because trust me, the other ones are expensive unless you're sharing with someone. It can be expensive, especially if you're not earning. I would say if you're not earning more than say 5,000 dirhams, having to take a one bedroom or a studio apartment, I don't think it would be advisable unless you're sharing with say another person or two people. Then it might be cheaper to afford that. But for yourself only, it is not a good idea to go for that. But each one for themselves. I mean, if you think that your comfort is, you cannot compromise on your comforts, then of course do as you please. The other accommodation options available is to take like one room in the whole apartment. So for instance, if I rent an apartment, say 2 or 3 bedrooms apartment, I can rent out one room to somebody. um I don't know how that is called. I think it's just like renting a room. And that also, you would sometimes you share some amenities like the kitchen or the laundry with the owner of the room. Sometimes you can have like a master bedroom, so you have your washroom inside of your bedroom, and then like you have a big bedroom, you have your wardrobe and some few amenities. And that will usually cost between, I think, 1,000 to 1,005 dirhams, or even 2,000 depending on the area that it is. And then also like the facilities attached to it. So for instance, if you have like your own bathroom, the price will be higher. If you don't have a bathroom and you have to share the common bathroom, it will be cheaper, and certain things like that. But ultimately, you will be sharing like a kitchen, and if there's a living area, you will be sharing the living area with the owner of the apartment or other people in the apartment. That is also another accommodation option. And then the other ones that we all want, the luxury, which is the one bedroom apartment or even the studio apartment, it's all quite expensive. And I would advise that if you don't earn anything above 5,000 dirhams, then I don't think it's advisable to rent, like especially a one bedroom apartment. You can do a studio depending on which area you are. You can have a studio for say 1,005 dirhams. Even that, I would advise that you share with somebody. So if you can find somebody and you have a studio apartment for say 1,005, because you're going to pay bills and other things, that would probably like add up to say 2,000 or 2,200, and you're sharing with somebody, that will be like paying 1,000 and a change, what is a good deal. Well, that will bring us to the end of today's video. If this was helpful, please don't forget to like this video and share with anyone who will be interested to know the different types of accommodation that we have in the UAE here. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to check out my other videos. I share amazing tips on migrating to UAE. Thank you so much for watching. Until the next video, take care and remember, life is short. You have to live your truth. Bye.